Hi, everyone. This is Christine with Black Tea News, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 takeaways from this Gina Carano situation. Maybe you do not know and you have not heard about it because, one, maybe you're living under a rock, or two, maybe you're just not involved so much in the cultural aspect of all this. But I would recommend that you do get involved because this firing with Lucasfilm and Disney, the sort of route that they're going, it's not something that's exclusive to Hollywood or Disney, and even was exclusive to Disney is big enough, but this is something that's going on, this sort of bullying in like schools and academia and in workplaces. I talked about Coca-Cola having practices that were like getting rid of whiteness and stuff. So this woke culture that's really destructive, it's everywhere, and politics is downstream from culture, and it's just important to pay attention to these things to kind of see the trajectory of where things are going. So before I jump into these 5 things, you can go to blacktnews.com and you can check out other content we've done on Gina Carano, articles and videos on that, or obviously other topics as well. If you would like to support as I try to grow this, channel, grow this website, you can leave a gift if you would like to do that. And also check out our store. I'm sure there's maybe some products there that you may come to love, and that's good for me, that's good for you. And also make sure that you like or subscribe, or that you share this far and wide, whatever platform that you're watching this on. Abide by whatever the measures are with that. So the 5 things I want to talk about. Number one, Disney lied about the nature of her tweets for why she was fired. So really quickly, she was one of the stars of the hit show on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian. She was specifically picked out by Jon Favreau. She's one of the rare conservative voices, and she made a couple of posts, and the one that got her canned recently, that it was known that she was canned, she did a post on, I believe it was Instagram, and I'm gonna just kind of paraphrase, but it was a picture referring to the Holocaust, and she said that it wasn't the Nazis that went around rounding up people told on their neighbors, and basically what would happen. She was just warning, if the discourse gets so bad that we're willing to turn each other just for politics, just kind of slippery slope. And she wasn't implying that. She didn't say anything about Republicans or Democrats, conservatives, leftists, whatever. She was making the point that if discourse gets so bad that communities cannot stand with each other, and we're willing to just turn on each other for differences of opinion, or just straight up bigotry is what it is, when you just can't tolerate someone else's views. Then we're going to be at a bad place. Not saying that conservatives are at a plight that is comparable to Jews being killed in the Holocaust. She didn't say that. She didn't imply that. I can see how you can read into that, but that's not what happened. So Disney/Lucasfilm said that her social media posts were abhorrent, that she denigrated people of different cultures and different religious affiliations, and it's just absolutely was not true. And if I see some people, like the spin that's been from like voices like from GameSpot and other places, gone to bat and gone to defense for Disney and Lucasfilm, have said they fired her because she's a bad employee. No, if she was a bad employee, you would not have to lie about the nature of her posts to get rid of her. You could just say, hey, she showed up to work not on time, or you could just say, hey, she made too many waves, which isn't good, because you don't want a mob of Twitter voices, because not even all those people are real, to be able to dictate what goes on in multi-billion-dollar corporations like that. So Disney lied about the nature of the tweets. I don't know if she's gonna get them for defamation or anything like that. I'd look into it personally, but we'll see what happens on that front. Another thing is that Lucasfilm had been trying to get rid of her for a while, so we know the reason why they announced that they got rid of her. But the truth is that Gina made a post some time ago when people were trying to, I guess bully is an appropriate term, but but I'll say pressure, trying to pressure her into putting pronouns in her bio. That's just sort of the Twitter fad. You put in if you're identify as a female, you put she, her, so people know how to address you. And so she wanted to make a statement to people who felt like they have control over what you post on your individual page. And so she wrote beep bop boop. And people were upset, and Disney contacted her and was like, hey, this isn't cool. They had their 2 LGBT reps reach out to her. They had a publicist go with her, and and she kept saying, hey, I can apologize, but I just want to explain my side of the story, and I don't mean anything against the trans community, and this is specifically, toward these people. And they told her, your problem is that you're trying to resolve this with logic, as opposed to giving an emotional response to people who are acting emotionally. And she's just like, why can't I respond with logic though? So they wanted her to do a couple of things that she wouldn't quite comply with. She wouldn't apologize the way that they wanted her to apologize, because if she wanted to apologize, she at least wanted to be sincere. And I'll talk in a second about some of the things that they did. But basically, since that time, they took her off for like promotion for the show, and she could kind of see the writing on the wall. There was one artist that announced that they were like drawing her out and replacing her with someone, which her fans were upset about, but she saw the writing on the wall with that. And she had actually heard from Lucasfilm basically since that time, and she found out she was canned the same time everyone else did, which is really, really inappropriate in my opinion. So they were just kind of looking for an out. So people who say she was fired because she was a bad employee, no, they were looking forward to getting rid of her for a while now, because she is a conservative or has conservative type opinions, and that she dared to let everyone know by expressing things, not trying to bash things down people's throats, but just, expressing opinions that don't go with their woke mainstream sort of culture. Another thing that I think is really important to note is that Lucasfilm tried to set her up and bully her, I would say. One thing that she talked about that they wanted to do is that they wanted her to get on a Zoom call with like 40 LGBT people. And she had seen like an email of something that had like a chain of that was a conversation about her, and she knows there's like a person that went to bat for her, but there's like other people who saying just awful things to her. She's seeing like other Lucasfilm employees saying awful things about her, so she didn't want to be on a Zoom call where she could be recorded and berated by a bunch of people who are hostile toward her. And she said, hey, let me take you out to dinner. Let me look in your eyes and we can have a conversation. You can see I'm not hateful and I can understand where you're coming from. And they didn't like that, I guess. And that didn't happen. And it I don't know what other reason why you wouldn't try to compromise. And that was a good compromise in my opinion. But unless they were really trying to set her up. And this is just a theory, like Lucasfilm didn't say it, but gosh, why else would you do this? Because obviously that was going to happen with people like, I don't know, yelling at her, crying or saying all these other things while she like, kind of fumbles around an apology and they put it out there. And maybe that's how they show penance, or maybe that's how they get an excuse to can her. But it's just not a good situation for an employee to be under, where you have like a panel of 40 so-called victims of some things that she wasn't even trying to offend people with, or at least not the LGBT in that way. And just, that's just a hostile environment. So that was very interesting that Disney decided to do something like that. Another thing to take away is that they have really extreme double standards. Pedro Pascal, he is a star of The Mandalorian. He posted something that was a Holocaust reference. He still has his job. She said there's people on set who could say whatever they want and get away with it. And she loves people who's on set and is good friends with people who have a difference of opinion than she has on issues. And she realized that she was different than some folks, but she said she still loves them and so on. But Disney does have double standards. And I know that firsthand. I've argued with people who work with ABC on shows. I'm just like, you guys are just like arguing with fans like this. I'm like, you're like a writer of a major show. Like, like calm down. Like, you know, there's people who have, you know, disrespected fans, and whether it's been about the actual content of the stuff that they're creating or political stuff. Disney does not get on people to the same degree. And there are huge double standards with Gina Carano. But the final takeaway that I thought was probably the most interesting was the fact that Gina is new to politics. So she said that she just kind of looked at the world in 2020 and how messed up it was. And she's like, you know what? I am an adult, so let me do some research. So she started doing some research, and she found people like Ben Shapiro thought those folks were very reasonable and logical. And she started forming some opinions. And, you know, in her interview on the Daily special with Ben Shapiro, in the first day, it got like 1 million views. It was doing very well. You know, she explained every sort of mindset behind the tweet. So I explained the first one, I explained the third one, but there was another one that people were like, oh, she expressed some QAnon theories or type theories. It's like, no, she said something about if we want to secure our elections, make people feel good about voting, that we need voter ID. And the reason why she said something about that, she decided, you know, me voting is very important. I did my research. I came to a decision. She went to the polls, and she's wearing a mask, and they're not checking to see if she is who she says she is. And when I went to the polls or whatever, I don't think I wore a mask actually. But you know, my sister did, and she, and I guess it's reasonable that we came together. If I'm Christina Barr, that I'm who I say I am, and she's with me, that she perhaps is who she says she is. And, but people weren't even asking to see and verify who they were. And maybe, I'm thinking too much into it, but the more lax you are on your election laws, and verification, the more you'll get people who believe stuff is stolen and not secure. So, and the more that people know that they can possibly get away with stuff, maybe not like on a massive scale of like stealing the presidency, but yeah, a city council seat here and there, a commissioner seat, you know, it in cities where they get away with stuff, maybe a mayor race or something like that. So, it's important that people have representation that is fair on every sort of level. So, she just, you know, put out a couple of suggestions on how you can fortify an election, and people acted like that was awful too. So the thing that's really interesting about her being a newbie to politics is that her ideas aren't super solidified. Like, you know, it's going to be different having a conversation with someone like her than having a conversation like me, who's been pretty rooted in what I believe for a long time. And people who attacked her and said awful things about her could have just tried to have a conversation on the merit of the issues and what she believed. And she kept saying, we can have a conversation. We can have a conversation. And she's someone who's open to conversations, and you could have had conversations and maybe swayed her to at least the middle, to be moderate, or maybe back on your left side of the aisle or something like that. And I don't know what her background really is. Maybe she just kind of realized from, I don't know, her perspective on life that maybe just fit more with conservative values. I don't know, but the point is, you blew that opportunity to have some kind of convert because you were busy trying to bludgeon them over the head with your worldview, and you just lose people that way because now she knows that those are the people who are out to get me. Those are the people who hate me. Those are the people who hate discussions and who hate logic, who are ruled by emotion. And I'm someone who wants to have a conversation and learn, and they won't even give me the benefit of in the space to do something like that. So what they've done is taken someone who's just kind of new to this side of things, and they've made her someone who, I don't want to say the word radical or something, but they affirmed her worldview, and now she's going to do a movie with the Daily Wire. So, stellar job there, guys. Stellar job. You guys just blew that. You blew that. And there's going to be more people that you blow chances with, especially if they watch cases like Gina, where you just throw them on the pyre, that you light the fire, and that you try to just destroy lives because you don't like logic. And as Disney said, the problem is you're trying to be logical with people who are emotional. And to that, I ask the question like, why can't I explain logic? Why can't I be logical? Why can't we do both? So, those are the 5 things to take away from this story. I think it's fascinating. I would recommend going and watching the interview. But it is, like an hour or so. Or you can go back and watch other content. People are talking about this all over the place. And I think Gina did a I admire her for just sticking to her guns. And she probably she's really chillax about it. Because it's just like a normal, I have this opinion, I stated my opinion, it's not a big deal. But obviously, she got caught up in a hornet's nest. And I'm glad that things are to some degree working out for her, and that Ben Shapiro said that you can have a home here in we're gonna not allow them to do things like this. And I think more people need to rise up and have opportunities to say, no, we're not gonna let people be canceled, and we're gonna fight back on this culture war front. And I'll keep fighting the good fight, and I hope you guys will too. So please visit blacktnews.com. Please look at our store and things that we have. And if you want to support, please be a supporter. And also, please make sure that you share content like this. And you guys have a blessed day.